when you look on your screen, you see follow, share, like, subscribe. Please make sure that you do all of that. It's always good. You know, you don't know who's going to need the word that we're sharing today. It will be vital for somebody. So when you feel that prompting, please make sure that you follow it. Now, let's read our scripture that we have today. We find it in 1 Chronicles chapter 17 and verse 1 and 2. It says this: after David was settled in his palace, he said to Nathan the prophet, "Here I am, living in a house of cedar, while the ark of the covenant of the Lord is under a tent." Nathan replied to David, "Whatever you have in mind, do it, for God is with you." And we know from scripture, this is just as it says here, David had done all his battles, etc., etc., built himself a palace, and there he was. And then he calls the prophet Nathan, and he said, "Here I am, living in the house of cedar, while the ark of the covenant of the Lord is under a tent." Now, David thought about the house of the Lord. I think, this is the gospel according to Dorothy. He was just there one day, and looked around his palace and thought to himself, "Wow, this is splendid. This is so good. I'm so happy to be here." And then he thought, what about the house of the Lord? Is the house of the Lord as glorious as my palace? And then he realized when he weighed it up that no, the house of the Lord was suffering. And so he told Nathan the prophet. And then Nathan, of course, replied to David, "Whatever you have in mind, do it, for God is with you." And when we read further on, we do realize that God did say that, "Look, you're not the one to build me a temple, however your son Solomon." But what do we want to glean from this? What we want to glean from is that David thought about the house of the Lord. You're a believer today, you're listening to me. I want to encourage you. Let us be like David. No wonder God said that he's a man after his own heart, because he concerned himself with the house of the Lord, not just his own house. Whatever it is that you are doing in your home, etc., etc., how God has blessed you, that's good. But take a thought today for the house of the Lord. When I say the house of the Lord, I'm talking about the church that you fellowship in. I'm also talking about the kingdom at large. Maybe you can be a blessing to somebody else. Maybe you can actually help the young ones in your house. Maybe you can serve in the house of the Lord instead of warming those pews. So I want to encourage you today. Take a thought for the house of the Lord. And Nathan's reply was, "Whatever you have in mind, do it, for God is with you." Let that be the reply for you. God is telling you, whatever it is, when you have a think about it, whatever it is that you have in mind to do, do it, for God is with you. God bless you.